Hey, what is going on everybody, and welcome to Fantasia. For today, we're going to be jumping into another session of Epic 7. Now today, got some more update content for you guys. Now this time around, we're going to be taking a look at the upcoming units and events that are going to be occurring in the coming weeks, and they are pretty nice, right? So starting off here, let's go ahead and take a look at the preview of the 1-minute summary, just so you guys get an idea of what's going to be coming up. Now I went ahead and muted the video, mostly because Epic 7 has been using these kind of commissioned or licensed music, I should say, that I don't have the rights to, so I do get demonetized on these videos when I do that. So Inheritor Amiki, the special change for her, is going to be coming out. We're going to go into that in detail. We're actually going to watch the video on that as well, and she looks really nice, right? She actually looks fantastic. Harsetti is going to be the new Holotrials boss, kind of expected. We kind of knew about that from Fenris's preview, and Fenris seems like he is going to be good into Harsetti, but don't pull for him yet. I would recommend waiting if you don't have him yet, just to see maybe there's alternatives that you can substitute in. Summertime Iseria and Hwayoung getting new EEs. We're going to talk about those. Those are really good improvements to their kits, and we have Midnight God Lilius's side story rerun. World Arena coming with a Pirate Captain Flan theme. Very nice to see. Just one of my favorite characters in the game. Also, Tenebria and Charles getting a little rate up. Midnight God Lilius here is actually going to be coming back. So I'm going to pause here just to say that Midnight God Lilius is a limited unit. She comes back once a year, right? And this is like her first rerun ever. She's going to come back with her side story event. The side story was really fun, and Midnight God Lilius is a really good unit. Very versatile, has a lot of different builds. You can build her from like 290, 300 speed to, nuke down Lias, nuke down tanks. You can build her as like a middling speed unit, 250 to 270 speed, and you can still one-shot units while having things like resistance as well built in. You can also build a slower Midnight God Lilius. You can build her on counter with really high resistance, with way less speed, and she can still do a ton of work. Right, you guys know I hate fighting her because she destroys standard team comps. She's going to struggle a little bit against things like Empyrean Ilanov, but hey, you're not always going to fight Empyrean Ilanov, and in those matches, Midnight God Lilius still pretty strong. But with that being said, we're going to keep on going. Also, Host is a Banquet, good artifact for things like BBK too. Anyway, Harsetti is going to be coming in, well, a few hours after the maintenance for tonight, and so that is right on the horizon. Alright, let's go ahead and jump back here to the actual patch notes so we can do a deep dive into what we just saw. Starting off here is the World Arena Pursuit season starting, featuring Pirate Captain Flan, and unfortunately, she didn't get her buff, so it would have been great to coincide here. But it's alright. Hopefully she'll get buffed later in the season or later down the line. Smallgate does have a tendency to, when they cancel an update of some sort, they just throw their hands up and they say, well, we're never trying that again. And hopefully they don't do that with Pirate Captain Flan. Again, she's one of my favorite units in the entire game, and I would hate for her to still remain unviable, even when her skin is up for the theme of this RTA season. The season frame looks okay, nothing too special in my eyes here. Color's alright. Honestly, I like that blue at the bottom there, the participation one, more than the kind of bright teal. But yeah, looks okay. Looks okay. Never played RTA for the actual frames, though. Moving on, we have Hall of Trials. So if you're newer to the game and, you can get some form of a ranking to get the Fates Gazes in Hall of Trials, try to get some, right? The more you get, the better, because when you eventually get those ML5 units that have those exclusive equipments, you can purchase them and put them on your units. They're really good. All of them so far have been pretty nice. Speaking of EEs, we have some really good ones with Hwayoung and Summertime Iseria. So let's take a quick gander here. Hwayoung's EE is going to give 5 to 10 speed for its base stat, and speed is a wonderful stat to have. It allows you to build your Hwayoung a little bit slower just so you can build her with more attack and a little bit more bulk. The speed is going to help you round out her kit. Now obviously people have different builds for Hwayoung. Most of them are hovering around the 170 to 200 speed range with as much attack as they can garner. Most people are on something like a torrent set, some people on triple torrent set. She can still nuke nuke mid HP units, like, you know, think about your Soul Weavers like Dragon King Shroom, Bunny Dom, DDR, the units that typically have like 16 to maybe 21k HP. Anything above that she tends to struggle to kill, especially if there's a damage mitigation unit on the other side, so do keep that in mind. Hwayoung, is she gonna get better after this? I don't know. We'll see. Here are the effects though. She gets an EE for S1, S2, and S3. So the S1 EE increases the damage dealt by 20%, which is okay. I don't think this increases the splash damage that's dealt, the additional damage that's dealt. That scales with her attack stat, but it's alright for like a bruisery kind of build. The S2 actually increases the attack she gives herself an attack buff, right, before she attacks, and it's nice, but the main thing with this is that when she had a debuff, she would not be able to get that attack buff. Now it would activate regardless of whether she has a debuff or not. It kind of sucks that Unbuffable would still stop her from getting the attack buff, but that's just how it is. Yeah, besides that though, I think it's pretty decent. It's kind of like Benimaru's Tachi. Her passive was basically Benimaru's Tachi, but now it's going to be slightly better Benimaru's Tachi. You typically run cleansers on your team anyway, so keeping debuffs off of her is pretty easy. You know, speed tune a cleanser to her. Hand Guy works really well because he gives immunity as well. Again, Hwayoung's not that popular, so we'll see. The last thing is Monarch's Flaming Strike, that's her S3. This increases damage dealt by 10%. I think most people are probably going to go for this because she does tend to struggle, and she misses kills by very close margins. This might help her, like just tip her over the edge. You know, if you're normally dealing 20k damage, now you're dealing 22k damage, right? It's like, okay, it's alright. And it could actually make the difference between whether or not she kills. I think that's going to be the most useful one. The next best one is probably going to be the S2, where she increases her attack regardless of debuff status. But again, we'll have to see how she plays out. It's a good EE, but Hwayoung herself is in a bit of an iffy place. Now, next unit is Summertime Iseria. It's actually really funny because after we go over these EEs, you're going to wonder what Pirate Captain Flan is actually here for. So, Summertime Iseria gets effectiveness. That's really nice. 16% effectiveness, really good, especially because most Iserias build over 200 effectiveness anyway for their bombs, right, to land the bombs. She's running her own artifact usually, which every time you attack, you're gonna put a bomb on if it's like your S1 skill, right, basic attack. So the equipment effects are here. 2 of them are for the S1, and the other is for her S2. Now, the first EE here increases the buff dispel chance by 5%. Don't think it's really that good. 5% is not amazing. It's not even going to be a 100% chance, I don't believe, to dispel a buff from the opponent. But the second EE here, after using the S1, you would actually detonate bombs inflicted on the target at the end of the turn, essentially changing Summertime Iseria into, that's right, Pirate Captain Flan. So her S1 already dispelled, which is pretty good, and now you can put the bomb on with her artifact, and now you can detonate that bomb with her EE, basically making her a stun machine. You can also soul burn her for free at the start of the match, so do keep that in mind. You can S1, you get a free soul burn S1, and then attack again, and you can stun 2 units, and then have Laya cleanse the 2 bombs, but you know what I mean, right? You do have a chance to stun 2 units in 1 turn. She does have a free soul burn that's built into her kit, so that's important to keep in mind, right? You don't have to rely on book holders for that. The last thing here is Suppression Attempt 3, that's her 3rd EE, and upon using Suppress, Suppress is her S2, you actually plant a bomb on all enemies for 2 turns. That's not bad. So that means when you activate your passive, instead of putting a bomb on 2 random enemies, now everyone's gonna get a bomb, and then on top of that you have the 2 bombs on 2 random enemies. Siseria's thing was if you didn't get lucky with the bombs, you kinda get screwed. This makes her way more consistent, and now when you throw out your S3, you're probably killing the whole entire opponent's team. If you don't kill them, they're going to be stunned and they'll lose that turn. So the main thing about Siseria here is that Smallgate did us a really nice favor and allowed her to have various builds. Most people either built super high effectiveness and the rest into attack, or all into attack with a bit of effectiveness just enough to get by. Now, Summertime Iseria can actually be built really tanky. You can use her in slower and tankier teams. You can use her in standard teams, much like Pirate Captain Flan. And Summertime Iseria does have that versatility and that team support. She also has that S2 that can bolster up your team, push up the combat readiness, much like Pirate Captain Flan's like passive skill as well with her S1, right? If she has a buff when she attacks, she'll push up your team by 15%. So very, very similar, very comparable to Pirate Captain Flan. If you don't have Pirate Captain Flan and you want to play a control type of team, Summertime Iseria, not too bad. But yeah, overall, pretty nice EEs. I'm definitely going to be rebuilding my Summertime Iseria with a different build. Going to make her really tanky, maybe like 20k health, make her tanky, and then bring her into RTA and start the trolling, right? Especially if I can get her to over 200 effectiveness. I think that's a pretty sweet spot to reach. Alright, moving on here, you can of course get these from Hall of Trials with the Wisdom's Gazes, not the Fate's Gazes. Fate's Gazes are reserved for Moonlight 5 stars, right? So with Moonlight 5 stars in mind, Harsetti is here. See these smooth transitions, guys? I think that deserves a little like down below. We're trying really hard to stay on our A game here. So Harsetti here is going to be coming out. I don't think I made a video talking about my thoughts. I don't typically give out first impressions for units. I like to test them first. But now that we're here and there's a skill introduction, we're going to go over her skills. So she is going to be a dark mage, and she is actually going to be quite tanky. I believe she scales with HP. So her first skill is called Gambit. It'll attack the enemy, 60% chance to decrease defense for a turn, and when it's her turn, she uses En Passant as an extra attack, right? And all this damage dealt is increases proportional to her own HP. En Passant is actually an AoE attack, so when she attacks with a single target, she'll follow up with an AoE, and that AoE has a 60% chance to decrease attack for 1 turn. Pretty good. Decrease attack is pretty nice against, most DPS units, obviously. And even against tankier units, things like Navy Captain Landy do scale with attack. So even though she's a slower, tankier knight, this is a pretty nice way of shutting her down. Defense breaks are obviously invaluable as well. So she's going to be quite annoying to deal with already right off the bat with this S1. It's a pretty loaded S1, right? The Soul Burn actually makes it so that the chance of Gambit increases 100%, and then she'll decrease defense for 2 turns instead of 1. When you enhance her skills, you get the extra 15% chance here for Gambit, right? So for actual S1 attack, not for the En Passant. That 60% chance to decrease attack, that's set. The 15% here is going to apply to the decrease defense, right? And that's going to be pretty high defense break chance. Let's go 75%, right? So it's pretty high. And of course, you can Soul Burn it to get that 100% chance too. Alright, moving on with her S2. This is the thing that people have been talking about in terms of its effect and impact on the game in general, but it says at the start of the battle, speed of the caster is fixed going forward, and the speed of all heroes except for herself is limited to a maximum of 90% of the caster's speed. On her turn, on the caster's turn, combat readiness will increase effects on all heroes is not applied. So that is quite interesting. So basically it means that she'll guarantee first turn. Except to Zio. Zio's combat readiness gain is actually not stopped by anything. It's unaffected. So Zio would actually still be able to cut in front of her here, Harsetti. And that is quite interesting how it will kind of be a mind game, right? You can build a fast Harsetti, but then your opponents can also be fast up to 90% of your speed, or you can build a slow Harsetti and everyone's now incredibly slow. It is gonna be interesting to see how it works in practice. I don't really fully grasp the effect, honestly. It's a little bit confusing. I think when I start using her and when I start showcasing her in Arena, things are gonna start to become more apparent. And of course, we're gonna figure out ways to fight her and ways to use her so that you guys will get the entire gist of how she works. I'm definitely going to be making videos on her in the coming days. So we have our summons and showcase tomorrow, and then we're going to try her out in RTA over the weekend as well. So if you don't want to miss out on those videos, be sure to subscribe so that you get notified when we post. All right. last but not least, her S3 is called Checkmate. Checkmate here is actually going to attack everybody. It's an AoE attack, and it decreases buff durations by 2 turns. Basically a full buff strip. Most buffs only last for 2 turns anyway. And there is a 75% chance each to inflict unable to counterattack and unable to be buffed for 2 turns. That's massive. You also penetrate the target's defense, right? So ML Ilinov stonks going up. When she has full focus, she will consume it all, and she will increase the damage that is dealt. And of course, she scales with HP. Now, this 75% chance to inflict unable to counter and unable to be buffed, that is gonna be Mola'd, right? So you can Mola that to 100% chance. You get plus 25% effect chance with her enhancements, which is pretty scary, right? 100% chance to be unbuffable and 100% chance to not be able to counter is pretty bad for units like Abyssal Yufine, for units like Navy Captain Landy, for example. Harsetti is going to be very strong. She has decreased defense, decreased attack, unbuffable. Unbuffable is one of the best debuffs in the entire meta right now, and unable to counterattack. She's one of the few units who can actually put that debuff on. I think Judge Kisei used to have it, but then due to her balance patch, they just kind of they like edit it out, right? So yeah, Harsetti I think is definitely probably worth pulling, especially if you're PvP oriented. If you're more PvE, I guess you can probably skip. But I'm sure most of you guys are pulling her for her artwork anyway. She looks fantastic. So yeah, Harsetti is going to be pretty cool and coming down on the horizon. Moving on here, we're going to have specialty change Amiki. So now she is actually, oh wait, they're missing an eye here. I just noticed that. She is going to be absolutely amazing. So let's go ahead and take a look at her video, which I think does a better job of breaking things down than the actual post. Again, I have this muted mostly because I don't know if they're using their own music or not, and I don't want to deal with that headache. But Amiki's animations are absolutely beautiful. They look great, and I can't wait to be able to specially change her. Hopefully her missions aren't that bad. I don't know if we know those yet. But yeah, overall, she is going to be quite interesting. Another immortality user. So we had like BBK, right, Kayron, and the like. But Amiki is going to be slightly different, and we'll go into that right now with the skill introduction, right? So her skill 2 here is called Desperate Resolve, and it grants immortality to herself for 1 turn and increase attack for 2 turns when you activate it. Now, when she receives lethal damage, when this skill is actually available, it will also grant herself immortality and the increased attack, right? And then it'll increase the cooldown of the skill. So basically, you can either activate this on your own, or if you don't get to take a turn, you don't get to activate it, and someone is trying to kill her, and they get her down to lethal damage, she will actually activate the immortality and grant the attack buff for herself then too, right? So the immortality basically makes it so that she is gonna stay alive, much like Genoa, much like BBK, much like Kayron, for example, right? Now, the skill 3 is actually gonna see a bit of a change here. Her skill 3 is now going to, which it already couldn't crit, right? And it already penetrated the target's defense by 30%. When her health is 30% or less, you penetrate by 70. And when she is immortal, she grants an extra turn. Now the change is whenever she has a successful attack, she will deal additional damage proportional to her attack onto all enemies, which is pretty good. Think about like a Euberus' Tooth proc, but on everybody. It's like a splash damage, right? Like Karina, when she has 3s and splash damage. It's pretty nice, okay? Or like a 3F, right? When Belian procs a 3F, splash damage onto everybody. And splash damage is really good, especially with units that have like damage limit, right? For example, Minagal Lilius, or if they have like a Tempest Surin, Roy Mustang kind of passive where they can't take more than a certain amount of damage in one hit. Against those units, also good. Really great into things like Sylvan Sage Vivian, for example, who reduces the amount they take by a drastic amount, allowing them to survive with very low, without taking too much damage. So yeah, we're gonna see her S3 come out here, and you can actually see her S3 in this showcase actually not that bad, and the splash damage also pretty notable. Now, of course, we don't know the stats of her here, but hey, we can tell that she's going to get quite a bit of help. So you can see she is increasing attack by 5, 7, and another 8% in total. That's quite a bit. That's 20% extra attack. She also gains up to 4 speed with the speed rune, and then with the relic rune, she gains another 5 speed. Funny how the relic rune gives more speed than the actual speed rune, but hey, so be it. Not bad though. Alright, for her S3, the Obscurity rune would actually increase damage dealt by the S3 skill by up to 10%, and the Guard rune, when she uses the Strike of Vengeance, if she is immortal, right, if she already has immortality, when you attack with it, you actually get a 100% chance to reset the cooldown of her S2. That is insane. So let's say she gets hit, it procs the immortality or whatever, now you get to S3, you attack, boom, ton of damage, maybe one-shot your opponent, right, whatever unit you're attacking, you penetrate defense, do that splash damage. When she's immortal, keep in mind, she gains an extra turn. So you kill something, right, you already had immortality, you gain an extra turn, this resets your S2, you can pop your S2 again, now you get immortality and another attack buff once more. That is kind of nutty. It's kind of like BBK, but like reverse, right? BBK normally you start the battle with immortality, you have a second immortality. Here, Amiki is, hey, I have immortality, I'm gonna kill, take another turn, and give myself immortality once more. It's kind of nice, actually. It's really cool. Now, the thing with her S2 actually is she actually can dispel all debuffs for herself before the effect activates. So you can give if she has like unbuffable, for example, you can cleanse it, give yourself immortality, give yourself the increased attack. So the glory rune is definitely going to be really good. We're assuming that you're maxing out everything on her anyway, because all it requires is runes anyway. So the fruition rune is pretty cool, because whenever you use her S2, you actually increase her combat readiness by a ton. That's 30% right there total. All of those slashes, by the way, are just the levels. They add on to each other. So first level's 5, then you add 10, then you add 15. So gaining that combat readiness allows her to just get immortality. You get to just push yourself up and then take extra turns. Her skill 1, also really cool, because it is a provoke, and provokes on immortal units kind of go hand in hand, right? So you can probably think about Elvira. Elvira gets immortality for 3 turns, and her S1 provokes, and attacking an immortal unit usually does nothing, right? So you want to get attacked here, you want to get low on HP, so the provoke is pretty synergistic with her kit. She can't trigger a critical hit on anything, so you don't have to build crit or crit damage on her, which saves on a bunch of stats. It's great because she's a 3-star, it really helps her out. And the S1 also penetrates defense by 30%, which is good. Whenever she attacks, if she is 30% or less in terms of health, she actually attacks, oops, sorry, I hit the table there, she actually attacks twice. So she attacks again with the same skill. Now, she increases damage dealt by this by 10%. With the Harvest rune and with the Wedge rune, you actually increase the chance to provoke by another 25%. Which is very, very nice. And I believe through skill enhancements, you can get this up to 75%. I think you can have a full chance to provoke, yeah, when it's fully enhanced, along with her skill enhancements, you have a 100% chance. So it's really nice, right? Unity rune here is when an ally except for a caster is attacked, she has a 15% chance to counterattack, which means you don't have to build on counter set. If she's being ignored, she can still do stuff, right? So if they're ignoring her, they're attacking her teammates, she can attack them with a counter, provoke them, on their next turn they're attacking her, and then Amiki, when she gets lower on health, she is able to nuke people. So her kin is actually really synergetic. It is really nice to see this much effort put into a specialty change, especially for a unit that has PvP potential. So I am going to be using her as well in the coming weeks, in the coming days as well, right? We're going to build her as soon as possible and then try and test her out. Obviously, we're going to kind of prioritize Harsetti first, because you likely have Amiki laying around anyway. Harsetti is going to be time limited. We got to make sure you guys know whether you want to pull for her or not. But Amiki, I think has a lot of potential. Kind of like a Genoa, and kind of like a BBK. Sort of the mix between the two. Really strong unit, and I can't wait to test her out. Can't wait at all. So yeah, this all summarizes everything that we just went through, but I think the video graphics do a better job of breaking it down than this post does. We're going to see a Tenebria raid up, ignore it. We're going to see a Charles raid up later, ignore it. And then the coin shop. Here's the thing. I woke up this morning, I saw the patch notes, and I was like, yes, this is great! And then I came home from work, and I checked the patch notes for this video, and I was like, what just happened? So, the Covenants did change as well. So we have Lilibet, we had Destina, and Elena. That was going to be proposed as our Covenant coin units. And now, no one really cares about Covenant coin units in general, because by the time you get this many dupes to get these coins, you probably have most of the 5 stars anyway. But Lilibet is still the same. Destina is getting replaced by Command Model Laika, and Elena is going to be replaced by Arya. Not a huge change, no one's really complaining about that. Again, no one really cares about the Covenant coin shop in general. I'm sure there's some people who do, not to be dismissive, but most people don't really care. The main change is this, the Galaxy coin shop, especially because we had the Moonlight Summon event, and a lot of people got Galaxy coins when they got dupes. And yeah, so with dupes, like me, I got some dupes as well. We are looking to spend those coins on 5 stars we don't have. And guess what? A lot of people don't have Blood Moon Haste because no one wanted to pull for him, unless you're a veteran player and you got him really early days, right, when he was good against Arby. So Blood Moon Haste here is actually gone. He's replaced. He's replaced by Martial Artist Ken, which really sucks. Briar Witch getting replaced is actually the whole point. She was run, like, I think 2 months ago in the coin shop, so them replacing her with Maid Chloe is fine. She was the unit that no one really wanted to rerun, because people who wanted to buy her could buy her anyway. They've already got her, and it was too soon for her rerun. Fallen Cecilia is also getting replaced by Little Queen Charlotte. Now, out there, I believe there is actually a timeline, and on that timeline, it does show that it is time for these 3 units to get their coin shop debut, but in my opinion, if you made the mistake and Blood Moon Haze wasn't supposed to be there, just keep him there, especially since he's a very popular unit and people have Galaxy coins. Let people have the Blood Moon Haste. I'm just saying, Smilegate, I don't have Blood Moon Haste and I would have really liked a Blood Moon Haste. I think this is kind of dumb. But yeah, I know that the time, on the timeline, it is actually time for like Little Queen Charlotte and ML Ken to have their time in the coin shop. Honestly though, they should really just get rid of this rotating coin shop thing. Just put the whole list of of units available. That would probably be the best for most players to get people into RTA, to promote yourself as an esport, a competitive PvP game. Just give players a chance to get units. That was the whole point of this anniversary event, by the way. The free Covenant summons, the free Galaxy summons. People are trying to hunt for ML5s, but really it is to help the newer players expand their roster early and get all the units so they can get into the fray, right? Go in and experience RTA. Even if you don't have all the ML5s, it doesn't really matter, right? You can still start playing the PvP aspect of the game. Gating people with the Galaxy coin shop, I don't know why they still do that. But anyway, hopefully they change it in the near future. Hopefully, Blood Moon Haste comes back and a lot of people want him, me included. And I'm hoping that ML Shu comes around too, because I really need her. I tried summoning for her multiple times, we never got her. Anyway, moving on, we got some packs. This actually isn't a cash pack, this is a Skystone pack, so I believe most of these are just 900 Skystones. So if you want it, you can get a Epic 7 World Championship 2024 illustration, and you also get the Epic 7 World Championship 2024 arena background, I believe that is. 5 leaves, 30 skin tickets is just an extra constellation thing, but you can use the art as a lobby illustration. You can replace your lobby screen with it. It's pretty nice. Yeah, whether or not you want to get it, it's up to you. It's 900 Skystones. Typically, most people just end up getting it just for collection purposes, right? If you're trying to get skin tickets and stuff, if you're newer, you want some of those skins for maybe an ML5, maybe you want Spectre Tenebria skin or something, it's not terrible, right? Again, no cash involved, just Skystones. So it's not bad. We're not going to talk about all the pack changes and everything, and there is actually going to be a lobby, another lobby illustration that's given to us. This one actually looks really, really nice. I like this one a whole ton. Kane in the center is really funny. But yeah, the whole Dark Elves and Vampires and stuff, pretty cool. This is going to be given out just in-game. You can use it for backgrounds and profile cards. But yeah, other than that, pretty much just minor updates here for a lot of things. I'm not going to go through every single little bit. I think the video is long enough, and that is the end of the patch notes. So thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you want to see more of these deep dives into the news, let me know in the comment section down below. Well, with that being said though, guys, until next time, take care.